God's chosen one. Hear the word of the Lord tonight. Heaven has marked this week for blessing. The drought is ending. The clouds are gathering, and the rain of favor is about to fall. The season of survival is turning into a season of overflow. Get ready, for the blessing is not a distant promise, it is a present decree. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 12. This is your season, God's chosen one. The heavens are opening above you. The storehouses of God, which never run empty, are being poured out upon your life. What you have sown in tears will now be reaped in joy. What you have carried in hiddenness will now be revealed in fullness. God's chosen one. Overflow is more than abundance, it is more than having enough. Overflow means more than you need, more than you expected, more than you imagined. Overflow means the cup does not stop at the brim. It spills onto the table. It means the blessing in your life will touch others around you. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm chapter 23, verses 5 and 6. The shepherd prepares a table, not in easy places, but in the presence of enemies. He anoints your head with oil until it drips. He fills your cup until it runs over. This is not survival blessing. This is overflowing blessing. This is not just enough to get by. This is more than enough to testify. God's chosen one. Do not limit your expectation. Do not shrink your vision. Do not reduce your prayer. The God who spoke galaxies into being is the same God who promises to bless you. The word declares, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Immeasurably more. That is overflow. That is what is being delivered to you this week. But hear this, overflow is not random. It is the fruit of faithfulness. The prayers you prayed in secret, the seeds you sowed in scarcity, the obedience you carried when it was costly, these have reached heaven. God has seen. God has remembered. God has decreed. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. God's chosen one. You did not give up. You kept sowing. You kept serving. You kept standing. And now, at the proper time, harvest is breaking forth. The soil that looked barren is now bursting with fruit. The prayers that felt unanswered are now unfolding. The doors that seemed shut are now swinging wide. This week is not ordinary. It is appointed. It is marked. It is heaven's calendar written over your life. And the word written is blessing. The decree spoken is overflow. The promise released is more than enough. So prepare. God's chosen one. Blessing requires readiness. Overflow demands capacity. The jars must be empty before the oil flows. The nets must be let down before the fish gather. The room must be prepared before the miracle enters. God is saying, get ready. Enlarge your vision. Expand your faith. Stretch your expectation. For what is coming is bigger than you. It is wider than your hands, higher than your thoughts, deeper than your plans. Heaven is not delivering a trickle, it is releasing a flood. God's chosen one. Overflow is not only about receiving, it is about releasing. Heaven pours out not so that you may hoard, but so that you may bless. The miracle of overflow is that it multiplies impact. What fills your cup will spill over into your family, your community, your workplace, even into strangers who cross your path. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Notice the promise. Running over, blessing that cannot be contained. Heaven does not deal in scarcity. Heaven deals in abundance. The Father who fed 5,000 with 5 loaves is the same Father who will multiply what you place in his hands today. God's chosen one. This is why obedience matters in overflow. When Jesus told Peter to let down his nets after a night of failure, Peter obeyed reluctantly. The catch was so great that the nets began to break and the boats began to sink. Luke chapter 5, verses 4 to 6. Overflow required obedience, and obedience produced testimony. Your blessing this week will require the same. The Spirit will whisper instructions. Forgive someone who wronged you. Sow a seed where you least expect. Step through a door that feels intimidating. Do not dismiss the whisper, for in that obedience lies the release of overflow. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19. God's chosen one. Get ready, because obedience is the key that turns the lock of heaven's treasury. Your yes will open what years of striving could not. Your surrender will release what striving could not achieve. And remember, overflow is not always financial. It is peace in the storm, joy in the valley, wisdom in the decision, healing in the body, reconciliation in the family. Overflow means every area of lack is touched by divine supply. Think of the widow in 2 Kings chapter 4. She had nothing but a small jar of oil. Yet when the prophet said, "Borrow empty vessels," and she obeyed, the oil did not stop flowing until every jar was filled. Overflow ended not because heaven ran dry, but because vessels ran out. So enlarge your vessels, God's chosen one. Do not bring God's small expectation. Do not set before him tiny jars of faith. Stretch wide your heart. Broaden your prayer. Increase your vision. The measure you bring will determine the measure you receive. God's chosen one. Overflow is also a testimony to the world. The world is watching not how you survive, but how you overflow. They expect scarcity. They predict collapse. But when they see joy unshaken, peace unbroken, generosity unexplainable, they will ask, "What God do you serve?" You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. The table is not hidden, it is public. Overflow is not private, it is visible. God blesses you in front of enemies, not to humiliate them, but to testify of his goodness. Your life becomes a living sermon that declares, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." So, prepare your heart. Overflow is not casual, it is covenant. It is heaven's signature saying, "This one is mine, and through this one I will bless many." This week, you will not only receive a blessing, you will become a blessing. God's chosen one. Overflow requires preparation. A blessing unprepared for can feel like a burden. A harvest with no workers rots in the field. A door opened without readiness can overwhelm instead of uplift. That is why the Spirit speaks now. Get ready. Enlarge the place of your tent. Stretch your tent curtains wide. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords. Strengthen your stakes. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 2. Enlarge your tent, God's chosen one. Do not think small when God is thinking big. Do not pray timid when God is preparing overflow. Do not limit heaven with earthly expectation. Stretch your capacity mentally, spiritually, emotionally to hold what is coming. Strengthen your stakes. Deepen your roots in the Word. Anchor yourself in prayer. Surround yourself with faith-filled voices. For overflow can shake those unsteady, but those planted deeply will not be moved. Think of Peter walking on water. When his eyes were fixed on Jesus, he stood on the impossible. When his eyes shifted to the storm, he began to sink. Overflow is like that. Keep your focus, and you will walk where others sink. God's chosen one. Overflow will test your stewardship. Can God trust you with more? Will you give as freely as you receive? Will you bless as abundantly as you are blessed? The measure of overflow is not how much you gather, but how much you release. Freely you have received. Freely give. Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. Your overflow is not for display, but for distribution. Heaven delivers so that earth is transformed. The blessing in your hand must become bread in another's. The oil on your head must flow to those around you. And know this, overflow is generational. The blessing this week is not only for you, it is for your children and your children's children. The righteous leave an inheritance for their children's children. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. The oil that flows now will not stop with you, it will mark your family line. God's chosen one. Overflow is also spiritual warfare. The enemy hates blessing because blessing testifies of God's goodness. When heaven opens, hell trembles. That is why opposition may intensify just before breakthrough. Do not misinterpret resistance as rejection. Resistance is the enemy's last defense against overflow. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. The flood of the enemy cannot match the overflow of heaven. The blessing of God will not be stopped. The river of grace will not be dammed. The decree of abundance will not be canceled. So lift your expectation higher. Sing before you see it. Rejoice before it arrives. Prepare your nets before the fish fill them. Dig ditches before the rain falls. Act as though overflow is certain, because it is. According to your faith, let it be done to you. Matthew chapter 9, verse 29. God's chosen one. Faith is the vessel that catches overflow. Doubt pokes holes in the jar. Fear cracks the vessel, but faith expands capacity. Stretch your faith this week. Believe God not only for enough, but for more than enough. Believe not only for daily bread, but for baskets left over. Believe not only for survival, but for testimony. This is why heaven says, get ready. The blessing is not a rumor. It is a reality. The overflow is not symbolic. It is literal. This week, you will see the hand of God in ways that exceed imagination. Prepare your heart, your house, your hands, for the flood of favor that is on its way. God's chosen one. The overflow that heaven delivers this week is not random, it is prophetic. It is a sign that God has not forgotten you, that the years of sowing, weeping, and waiting were not wasted. The blessing is not only provision, it is confirmation. It declares to your spirit and to the watching world that the Lord is faithful. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Psalm chapter 118, verse 23. Marvel is what happens when overflow arrives. You will marvel at how prayers long delayed suddenly bloom. You will marvel at how doors once locked suddenly swing wide. You will marvel at how quickly barren fields burst with fruit. This is the nature of overflow. It surprises even the faithful. God's chosen one, prepare to testify. Overflow is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to be shared. Your story of blessing will be someone else's seed of faith. Your overflow will cause others to say, "If God did it for them, He can do it for me." That is why the psalmist declared, "Come and hear, all you who fear God. Let me tell you what He has done for me." Psalm chapter 66, verse 16. So speak of it. Testify of it. Do not downplay the blessing of God. Give Him glory openly, for your testimony multiplies His reach. And yet, God's chosen one, overflow must be stewarded carefully. Blessing can become a trap if pride enters. The enemy could not stop your breakthrough, so now he will try to corrupt it. Do not allow the overflow to lead you away from the one who gave it. Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. Remember Him in your blessing. Remember Him in your overflow. Remember Him when the jars are full and the nets are breaking. It was never your strength. It was always His supply. Think of Solomon. In the early days he asked for wisdom, and God gave him riches and honor as well. But when his heart turned toward idols, the blessing became corrupted. Learn from his story. Blessing must be anchored in obedience. Think of the lepers healed by Jesus. 10 received healing, but only one returned to give thanks. That one received not only healing, but wholeness. Luke chapter 17, verses 15 to 19. Gratitude completes the blessing. God's chosen one. Guard your gratitude. Overflow will tempt you to rush forward, but pause to give thanks. Gratitude secures what pride can steal. Gratitude multiplies what complacency wastes. Gratitude keeps the river flowing. And know this, overflow is not only for you. It is for those connected to you. Just as oil flowed from Aaron's head to his beard, to his robes. Psalm chapter 133, verse 2. The blessing on your life will flow to your household, to your community, to your sphere of influence. This week, others will taste the blessing through you. So expand your generosity. Do not tighten your fist. Open your hand. Do not build bigger barns to hoard. Build longer tables to serve. For the true proof of overflow is not how much you keep, but how much you share. You will be enriched in every way, so that you can be generous on every occasion. And through us your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 11. God's chosen one. Your generosity this week will create thanksgiving in others. Your overflow will lift weary hearts, feed hungry souls, and awaken dormant hope. This is the purpose of blessing, that God may be glorified and his people strengthened. So ready yourself. The delivery of heaven is on its way. The overflow is already moving. The blessing will not only fill your cup, it will spill into every space around you. God's chosen one. The word of the Lord for you this week is clear. Blessing is delivered, overflow is released, and heaven has already moved on your behalf. What you have waited for, prayed for, and believed for is stepping into reality. This is not imagination. It is manifestation. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. It hastens toward the goal, and it will not fail. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. The appointed time has come. The waiting season is closing. The doors are opening. The overflow is arriving. God's chosen one. You must posture yourself for this moment. Stand in faith, not fear. Walk in boldness, not hesitation. Speak with authority, not doubt. Blessing requires confidence that it is truly yours. The enemy will whisper, "This cannot be for you. You are unworthy." But heaven answers, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it." Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 22. It is not earned. It is given. It is not wages. It is grace. You cannot purchase overflow. It is delivered by covenant. So lift your head. Lift your hands. Lift your voice. Rejoice before you see it fully, because praise is the language of faith. Shout in advance, because gratitude accelerates manifestation. God's chosen one. The blessing this week will not only affect your life, it will mark your future. Just as Jacob wrestled through the night and walked away with a blessing that changed his name and destiny. Genesis chapter 32, verses 24 to 28. So you will walk into a new identity. Overflow shifts not only circumstances, but character. You will see yourself differently. Others will see you differently. Most of all, you will see God differently. And now, prepare for prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, I lift every chosen one under the sound of this word. I declare the heavens open, the storehouses unlocked, the floodgates released. Let blessing pour into their homes, their health, their families, their finances, their faith. Let overflow touch every corner of their lives. Lord, break every barrier that resists your flow. Silence every lie of the enemy. Remove every chain of limitation. Expand their capacity to receive. Enlarge their hearts to give. Make them rivers, not reservoirs, channels of blessing, not containers of it. Father, I ask that this week be marked by testimonies. Let contracts be signed. Let debts be canceled. Let doors be opened. Let healing be released. Let relationships be restored. Let joy spring forth where sorrow sat. Let peace flow where anxiety ruled. Let abundance come where lack lingered. And now, God's chosen one, receive this blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May his presence go before you, behind you, and within you. May your cup run over, your barns overflow, your fields produce harvest in due season. May your life become a testimony of generosity and joy. God's chosen one, walk boldly into this week. Expect blessing at your doorstep, overflow in your hands, abundance in your spirit. Live as though heaven has already delivered, because it has. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm chapter 23, verse 6. Goodness follows you. Mercy surrounds you. Overflow carries you. This is your week. This is your season. This is your blessing. Heaven has delivered it. Now, God's chosen one, get ready and step into overflow.